Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to start by reading the questions that we set for today's workshop. Bearing in mind that these questions were set by the core group in, primarily, I'd say worded by the core group in New York. And I think what's so interesting about the coalition is the different kind of speeds and velocities and the different challenges everybody feel they're facing, you know. And I think these questions speak in a specific language that we shouldn't feel like we need to address very accurately. I think we can be as personal as we want to be about it. But so the questions go, and I don't have my glasses on me, but how complicit is the art world? This is a good sound track. How complicit is the art world in the reproduction of forms of power which produce and sustain the conditions for political disenfranchisement? What in fact does complicity mean in these terms? Is it conscious, intentional, passive? And where do we draw the line? How can artists and arts institutions provide the conditions for political liberation, economic security, and greater equality of opportunity? Yesterday I had one of the most, I think it was yesterday or the day before, one of the most surreal experiences of my life. I was invited to Brussels to speak at a conference that was predominantly made up of EU policymakers. And I literally overheard somebody saying, referring to me as the arts guy. And it was totally, I was like the token dangling thing from the review mirror. You know, it was like bringing the arts guy. And it was like, it was excruciating experience. It was 2 sessions of 2 hours around the table with like super fucking powerful people with wads of cash, and a few of them slept through the sessions, and I don't want to paint it all as a terrible thing, because it was a privilege to have access to them, and I think it was really important, and it felt urgent to be there and to bring this message to that table. But what was frightening was that I brought a nostalgic example to them to try and kind of highlight the urgency of what we do for them, which was, do you remember Retort, the Bay Area collective, Ian Bower, and the way he described the war on terror as a war of images, and he described 9/11 as the ultimate wound sustained by America, and the invasion of Afghanistan and of Iraq as a kind of pursuit of images to reply to that wound, right? And you know, this argument reframed the entire thing, taking it away from terror and talking about culture or art production in a way. And what I was just trying to say to them is culture is the battleground. You know, we're not token like watercolor Sunday painters that you might be able to instrumentalize. Like this is where the war's happening, you know, and you need us urgently. So it was a very odd experience, I must say. But I just also wanted to end on a positive note, and just to talk about this idea of complicity on a personal level, because I think since November, whatever it was, when Donald Trump was elected and this coalition began, the enemy for me, both in visual and kind of textual terms, has been like very clear, and it's all been about the enemy, you know, and the language I've been reading, and how like the energy it's galvanized in me has been about fighting this enemy. And I just saw this idea of complicity as maybe a moment to actually have a tiny minute of self-reflection, and to just see like, what is it in, is there any of that enemy that's sitting inside me in my daily action and my daily performance, and even in the way I engage with this, you know. So I was reading complicity in that way.